Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We've got a real treat for you. Down here at the bottom left of Daybreak is our Team OGS player, formerly actually of the team We Made Fox. He is OGS NaDa, played on We Made Fox in StarCraft 1, and his opponent, also formerly of We Made Fox, of course, as a Warcraft 3 player and part-time StarCraft 2 player, has now switched over to StarCraft 2 full-time and has, since We Made Fox has disbanded, joined a new team, and that team is Slayers. He is Slayers Ben, using the ID Ben here. Of course, many remember him as Soccer because he has played quite a few games in the GSL under that name when he was playing for F United in Team League, and also when he was playing in the individual leagues before. He also used the ID Soccer. Well, NaDa, once and usually called the most consistent pro gamer of all time, has found himself now in Code A. This guy, you just wouldn't even fall to the up and down matches back when that was our old format. He was just so consistent, always making it to the round of 8 every season. Then one season kind of didn't, and then the next season he's fallen out of Code A. So NaDa maybe slipping a little bit here, but I'm kind of curious to see what build he's going to do. He is taking a gas right away. Not what I expected. I expected to see a 1 barracks expand from him, given the map. Daybreak does have quite a long rush distance, but he is going to be going for, we actually don't know. I can't predict this yet. Is he going to be going for not a 1 barracks expand? I don't know how to transition my way out of that sentence. Sometimes you're just saying a sentence and you're like, well, there's not really a good way to get out of this. Has to protect this SCV. 3 more probe zaps and he will die. Cybernetics core going down for NaDa right now as well, or excuse me, for Ben. And I'm really curious to see what Ben's going to do here. Ben is not well known for his macro. He's not really well known for his decision making either. Slayers must have seen something in him though, if they've chosen him. To be honest, Ben at this point is he's not proven himself. He's only shown mediocre games. And I believe when he played, there was a game he played, I think it was against Tails or Von in one of the older Code A's, and this guy saw DTs coming with an observer and did not cancel his Colossus to make an observer and get a free win. And when I see choices like that made, I go, what is going on? Well, this factory is hidden, but this probe knows about it. With the way these minerals are placed, it's actually pretty tough for the probe to actually hit that SCV, but he does manage to pull it off. And I'm kind of curious to see what NaDa's plan is here with this factory. Of course, most likely it's for Banshees. He's going to protect this SCV now with an SCV. Most likely he's going to make a tech lab on this factory, make a starport, and get Banshees. But there's already a Stalker here. However, with this Marauder out to chase away the Stalker, things are going to get pretty intense for Ben. He's going to have to let that factory finish. But he did delay it because the SCV, he actually did not send the second SCV just yet. That's way, way delayed. Concussive Shell's about to finish here for NaDa as he continues to put this pressure on. He could, when he finishes this factory, make Hellions as well to put a little bit of extra pressure on to help those Marauders out. Ben right now going up to 3 gateways, knowing he's under a lot of pressure right now. And he's going to finish these into warp gates as soon as that warp gate research finishes, making a robotics right now as well. This gives him a lot of opportunities to deal with Cloak Banshees. Of course, it gives him the ability to make Immortals, so we can deal with Siege Tanks as well. And NaDa taking the expand behind this. I don't know if that was his original intent, but because of how his build has kind of fared at this point, it was a choice he had to make. Now Ben, it looks like he's going to lose a Stalker here. Not the best micro. You'd expect better from a Warcraft 3 player, but either way, the Stalker will fall now to this Marauder. So 2 Marauders and a Marine for 2 Stalkers. An okay trade. He's not going to get the Sentry. The probe doing too much extra DPS. NaDa actually landing the factory in here. He's going to start making Hellions. Just keeps Ben inside of his base. He's going to make a Nexus. This Marauder decides to go home. May actually wait down here for his another Marauder friend and then go with Hellions, but nope, looks like he's not going to. These Marauders stop being rallied for quite some time. And NaDa decides to cancel that Hellions, not going to do anything. But it kept Ben in his base a little bit longer, allowed NaDa to finish this command center safely without even making a bunker just yet. In NaDa's main base, he's gone up to 4 barracks. Factory relatively useless. I guess we'll just never really know what this build was going to be. He's going to be able to use this factory now, of course, for scouting. Then putting his pylon here, a little bit in an interesting spot. Might indicate he wants to take a fairly fast third base. Also gives him the ability to see pushes coming up the right side. Keeping the watchtower as well, something that NaDa surprisingly is not doing right now. Making that bunker, keeping all 4 Marauders here, continuing Marauder production. And scouting everything that Ben is doing with this factory. Sentries take forever to kill factories. Factory's just going to ignore them. Ben taking double gases as natural as well. Right now the work count is 30 probes, 30 SCVs, a very even game. NaDa gone up to 4 barracks like I mentioned earlier, starting that starport, getting a second gas. Probably start his gases on his naturals fairly soon. Probably going to get engineering bays up before that happens. I think we're going to see a reactor go down for this starport very soon as well. And we're just going to see NaDa transition into very standard TPP bio play. He's got his tech up fairly quickly. Then getting that robotic support bay up and running so we can get those Colossi out. Colossi allow him to be both defensive and offensive. Looked like he wanted to make an Immortal here, but decided to wait because he knows that robotic bay is almost finished. So we're going to take a peek at this army. NaDa sees it, scans it, kills it immediately. NaDa's out for blood. He also decides to kill these rocks. Might as well. The bay is done. Range and Colossus being made immediately. I'll give you guys some unit numbers so you guys can kind of see the army sizes compared. 2 Stalkers, 3 Sentries, and 4 Zealots. That's the Sentries and Zealots there. The Stalkers lurking about somewhere. One of them here on this tower. And his opponent, though, has 14 Marines, 7 Mars, and a Reaper. Now, that Reaper is going to be to distract units, pull them back, also to grant vision up cliffs. This is a really nice attack timing by NaDa, but he does get 1 Marauder trapped. Does attack, though, the Zealot there, so fairly even trade for that Marauder. Debris getting very low. NaDa deciding not to rally his troops across the map, not bringing his Reaper even. Stim is done, but Combat Shields is not, so this is kind of a scary moment for NaDa to attack. He's got to really commit. If he makes a mistake, he's going to lose so much. 2 more gateways going up, Ben getting his Colossi out, hiding them as well, not showing them to NaDa just yet. NaDa back at home, does have a reactor on that starport. He's not quite making use of it just yet. Did send 2 medevacs out, but not completely using it. No Viking production whatsoever. He's making 3 reactors right now. 2 reactors in the tech lab, excuse me, but even so, making all those add-ons means he kind of misses a little bit of production cycle. So this timing attack is going to either succeed or fail within the next few seconds. He kind of missed a production cycle, so now Ben's going to have enough units to deal with no matter what if he decides to wait a little bit longer. But he's going to go now. He's going to actually hit this robotic support bay probably very soon. He's probably so excited when he sees this. He's going to target that down immediately. There are Colossi coming up here. He 1A's his army back up here. The Colossi in front. And guess what that means? We might actually see not only robotic support bay go down, but Colossi, no, he decides not to target them. Gotta be so careful. It's actually a Terran player's dream is when he drops in someone's main and someone 1A's his army back in to grab it, and the Colossi just kind of walk in and die. As you can see, Soccer actually having all of his units on 1 hotkey. Not advisable, or at the very least, if you're going to do that, you should box some of your units to deal with drops. Not seeing the majority of his forces back, but 1 drop ship remains. Will Ben see it? Looks like he did not quite see that. And it's going to come over here into the main, kill some probes perhaps. There are some Zealots waiting though. Ben going to put out some pressure on NaDa. There is a large force for NaDa here. Not necessarily enough to hold, but with the Vikings in there as well, Ben might just decide not to go for the attack. Zealots and Immortals here clean up this drop quite nicely, but it does force him to warp in some units at home rather than out the front lines. NaDa with a sick concave at the top of this ramp. It would be silly to attack him. I mean, first of all, he's NaDa. You don't want to attack NaDa. Everyone's scared of attacking NaDa. He has that intimidation factor. You know, you've seen how big his muscles are. Don't want to attack him, but some people just decide to go for it. Anyways, I've highlighted the Vikings and the Colossi here. They're going to go to battle. And NaDa kind of being a little bit afraid to attack. SCV is coming over here to fight as well, and I think these force fields are actually just so good that NaDa has to turn around. Did damage those Colossi quite significantly, but few workers killed for Ben. Looks like Ben wants to attack yet again. And not all of the units of NaDa firing initially here, but I think he has enough to push this attack back. He's going to take out these Colossi very quickly. It looks like, oh, maybe not. There's just not enough DPS on these Vikings. And I have to say, I'm a little bit surprised this attack is so successful. It comes down to these great force fields for Ben, but he will hold this attack off. Ben having to retreat now with another Colossus on the way, though, and a few more Warping and Zealots. He may be able to break through here. It's a really big commitment. If he messes this up, he's going to lose his really expensive units. Will he decide to attack again? It looks like he is, with 3 Colossi, 2 of them very damaged. NaDa only with 1 Viking. He has a lot of Marauders out, but will they be enough? He's not even got more Vikings on the way, so he's just going to have to stick with this 1 Viking. I think Ben actually might be able to just end this game right now. NaDa with a good concave at the top of his ramp, but Ben just going to go for it. NaDa with 1-1 upgrades, but Ben with 3 Colossus. Oh, sick force field blocks out those Marauders. And I think this may be the end for NaDa. The Marauders have nowhere to retreat, so he's trying to pull SCVs to fight here. But SCVs are being pulled to fight Zealots and Colossi. The last thing they want to fight. They said they didn't sign up for this. But Ben is actually just going to win this game here by the looks of things. NaDa being caught a little bit off guard. He did not fight with all of his units when that engagement first occurred. And Ben's force fields were beautiful. NaDa does have this third base over here. It's good planetary as well. He's going to lose all of his production. Does force Ben back a little bit here with those Vikings because it's very difficult to attack up a ramp. He does not have very many Stalkers, but probably we'll see Ben warp in another round of Stalkers very soon, adding a Twilight Council at home. And guess what? Colossi with outrange a Planetary Fortress. Does not decide he wants to target that down, just wants to play it safe. Does have 5 Colossi out now. Force fields, now he's going to go for it. When NaDa cannot pull units to fight with the Planetary. 3 Vikings at a time, 4 Vikings at a time being produced for NaDa. That's all he can really hope for. Zealots attacking here. SCV is repairing a little bit. The Colossi just doing so much damage with the Immortal doing the extra DPS as well. Does not look like this Planetary will remain alive. Sentries over here need to force out the ramp again. Nice, does get it. And all of the SCVs now cleaned up at the third base. I'd like to see Ben throw down a third base of his own. To be perfectly honest with you guys, he does have a ton of Vikings though. Right now in total, the units out are 10 Zealots and Immortals, 6 Colossi, 13 Stalkers, and 4 Sentries, running up against 9 Vikings. That's quite a lot. That's about, it's a decent ratio. He's got 4 more Vikings than there are Colossi. He's got 17 Marauders. That's really decent to have. And his opponent does not have upgrades, whereas NaDa has 1-1 upgrades. The problem is, we'll hold that thought. We're going to have another engagement here, and Ben has a really nice army. Looks like he may break through here. There's just too much DPS on those Colossi. And that is it. NaDa is going to fall. GG. Well, really good force fields by Ben. And that engagement, he caught NaDa at a time where NaDa was not attacking with all of his units, as he was dealing with that dropship that he was trying to use in the main base. He was trying to float it around. And I have to say, I was a little bit more impressed with Ben's play than I have when I've seen him play under the ID Soccer. And, you know, there were some things that NaDa did better than Ben. Like, he got his upgrades up really quickly. He did get those Medivacs out at just the right time. He did an awesome drop. He killed the Robotic Support Bay. But Ben just attacked, and NaDa did not deal with it appropriately. And when you play this matchup, when someone attacks, if you don't deal with it properly, if you don't win the battle convincingly, it's over, oftentimes. And in this case it was. But NaDa is not out of the GSL yet. He's got another shot. We're going to be playing on Crossfire here. Cannot